serve our customers in the future needs to be more intelligent, more proactive, to follow more and more the natural language interface.
Guidewire is helping us to leverage the AI strategy for personalizing our recommendations. The quoting that we have with Guidewire connects with different AI algorithms. This positions us to innovate faster, to personalize more.
Guidewire enables us to work smart in a number of different ways. One of them is where they have AI now in the platform and where it's going. It's not really a function of whether or not AI is going to transform the insurance industry. It's really about how insurance companies are going to use AI to transform themselves.
Please welcome Guidewire's Chief Executive Officer, Mike Rosenbaum.
Hey, everybody. So let me just start by saying welcome to Las Vegas and welcome to Connections. What a cool theater experience we have here. Isn't it amazing? And yeah, this is a first for me. This is pretty scary, actually. Super stressful. It's like my favorite day of the year, but also my most stressful day of the year. And now we have 4 levels of balconies to be stressed about. So I was talking to some folks in the elevator. I don't know, nobody really knows this, but like we contracted to do the event here actually before the hotel was built. And we worked it out with the people who designed the hotel to make it super complicated to get from breakfast to you know, we wanted them to go on an escalator and then an elevator and turn left and turn right because we wanted it to feel like implementing Policy Center. There you go, okay? But the message is that it ends up working out great, okay? So this is gonna be a great presentation. This is gonna be a great week. Here we are, it all worked out. All right, let me start the presentation. I always start saying thank you, okay? Thanks obviously for coming to the event, but I think I genuinely speak on behalf of everybody at Guidewire when I say that we have a tremendous amount of gratitude and we owe you all thanks for the opportunity to work on this platform on behalf of this industry. I think, you know, we like to think that what we do matters, what we do is important, and I think you should know that we believe that what you do is important. What you do matters. What you do plays this incredible role in the world, and it's often underappreciated, so we just wanted to say thank you, okay? Our mission in all of this hasn't changed in 25 years. I don't expect it'll change for 25 more. We exist to create a platform you can trust, to create the agility you need to innovate, to engage with customers in new ways, to create new product lines, to expand your product lines into new states and new channels, to grow your organizations efficiently, operate at great combined ratios. This is what we do. It's not going to change. And in 25 years, this is what we've created. You know, I often get told I should, you know, be more confident, be more cocky. That actually nobody tells me to do that. But I am very proud of, and I hope everybody here in this audience, Guidewire employees, but also partners and also customers, should be very proud of the fact that we together have created the world's leading platform for insurance. We shouldn't be bashful about recognizing that, right? We've created the platform services and the application services and the applications you need and the marketplace you need to genuinely operate the insurance industry more effectively. And it's been a lot of hard work, right? But the net result is now over 500 customers across 43 countries. I think genuinely, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, every single country where property casualty insurance is practiced, we have a customer. everywhere in the world operating Guidewire. And that, this 150 cloud go-lives, which means there's now 150 instances of Guidewire Cloud running in production on behalf of all of you. This is amazing. I remember when I first joined Guidewire over 6 years ago, and I think we had 3. And we said, oh man, it is going to be a lot of hard work to get to 10. We're like, I hope we get to 10, And then we said, okay, we got to 10. We need to get to 20. But then it starts to build, and you get to 50, and you can say, oh, we're going to get to 100. Well, we're now at 150, and this is certainly going to get to 300. It's probably going to get to 500. But then I want to be a little bit of a nerd and talk about the cloud environments and the 2,400 cloud environments. And I also remember a conversation that I had with a customer about how many production, or how many, let's call it production instances, little Guidewires we were going to need. And we said, oh, we have this many total customers, so multiply by 3, so probably we'll need about 1,000 instances of Guidewire. And I said, no, we're going to need tens of thousands of instances of Guidewire. Because moving this system to the cloud and creating the ability to create what I like to say is like these little ephemeral instances relates to our ability to empower developers, to empower partners, to empower all of you to go fast, to execute and to innovate. And so that number, and that number continuing to grow, is what shows me that we're on the right track. And I would say, like, this is Connections. Once a year, we have an opportunity to see what it looks like to be a Guidewire partner, to see the power of the community and the power of the ecosystem up in the pavilion. It's just super motivating to me, right? That we now have over 200 technology partners, 500 marketplace applications, 41 consulting partners, and 28,000 certified consultants, all of which I think have, in one way or another, bet their careers on Guidewire. And so this is kind of what the story looks like in numbers. This is what the story looks like in logos. And this is always my favorite thing to do, is ask our creative team to painstakingly steal all of your logos and stick it on a slide. It's an incredible pain in the neck for them to do, but I really think it's amazing. Obviously, I'm going to turn around and look at it. So I'll give you 10 seconds to try to find your company up there. Thank you very much for permission to use your logo. But like, this is pretty amazing, what we've created together, and I think we should all be very proud of it. And so at this phase of this presentation, which I've now given a few times, we typically pivot to cloud, and we talk about cloud capabilities. And our cloud journey is not yet done, for sure. We are going to remain focused on moving this industry to the cloud. But I think now we need to talk about generative AI, we need to talk about large language models, and we need to talk about what intelligence is going to do to this industry. And this is a personal statement. I can't speak on behalf of everybody at Guidewire when I say this. I think this is a miracle, okay? This idea that we've created something, a computer that thinks, but actually it doesn't think. It just tricks us into thinking that it thinks, or thinking maybe it can think. I just can't understand how this works. And I'm amazed every single time I use these tools to create an application, or to, for example, help me write a script for a speech I'm going to give at a technology conference, which I actually did, and which actually was very, very helpful, right? It's just amazing what you can do with these things. And people will say, people in positions like mine will say, hey, this is as big as the steam engine, and this is as big as the invention of the transistor, and now we all have computers, and those computers are networked, and those computers are in our pockets, and the whole world has changed, and generative AI and large language models will be as big or bigger and have a bigger influence on the world as all of those things. It's not really my job to talk to you about that. My job is to say, like, what does this mean for the insurance industry, and what does this mean for Guidewire, okay? And I've had opportunities to meet and speak with lots of technology and business executives in the insurance industry, and some of the conversations that I think are like so amazing, where they say, Mike, look, it wasn't that long ago that we actually kept track of all this stuff on a ledger. Somewhere in this building, somewhere down in the basement, is the actual ledger where we kept track of all this stuff. And then we moved it all into the filing cabinet. I met somebody or I know somebody. I had a conversation earlier this week. I won't name this woman, but she told me her first job when she was in her teens in Ireland was working in the basement of an insurance company, and her job was to receive the number of the policy that they needed to look up, and then she had to like turn the crank in order to move the filing cabinet around in order to pull the file and send it upstairs. It's like, this is real. This is in the 90s. And so we've come a long way, right? Like, we've moved this process to mainframe computers, and we've moved this process to systems like Guidewire. And I would ask you to like picture in your head this perfect implementation of Guidewire, right? Everything is set up and running smoothly. Underwriting, policy administration, billing. We've got beautiful digital portals connecting agents, connecting your employees to this incredible experience. And your whole system is running at like, I don't know, a 92% combined ratio, and everybody's happy. And I want you to juxtapose that picture to the filing cabinet and think about how far we've come, okay? And now I want you to think, okay, large language models and generative AI actually deployed into this industry is going to have just as big an impact, just as big a delta. This is the perspective that we have of how this will change, okay? We are going to create radically different approaches to the core things that run the industry, okay? And this is like in time order sequence, our perspective of how things are gonna go over time. The first thing that's going to change is development, and developer productivity is going to improve. I think we all kind of understand this now. The one tangible thing that very clearly these systems do very well is help us write code. Okay, we recognize that, we're rolling that out. We're going to do everything we can to ensure that the development teams powering your implementations of Guidewire are supported and enhanced. This is going to change. And when it does, it's going to have a dramatically positive impact on your velocity, okay? The next thing that's going to change is underwriting. And I would say, like, underwriting, I think, it's a business process that has resisted automation. It's an art form, right? We don't really want to boil it down to 3 fields that we can stick into our predictive model that gives us the price and answers the question. It's an art. It's something that requires deep assessment and study. But magically, large language models and generative AI create the opportunity for us to change the way underwriting works, and we are convinced this will happen, okay? Next, I think, is claims. And I was having a great conversation with somebody while we were wandering around the casino trying to find the theater today about claims and how this is going to take some time, okay? This is not like a snap your fingers and suddenly large language models have automated all of our claims experiences, because in the insurance industry, the stakes are higher. The ramifications of mistakes are significant, and we need to be careful. We need to be prudent. We need to learn how these systems work and learn what they can do right now. And I think iteratively, step by step by step, the claims process that we all run will dramatically change. And last but not least, and I'm not going to talk a ton about this, but I also think we should keep in our minds that customer experiences and customer and consumer expectations will change, right? We will probably be creating little robots that can talk to people, and the people can talk to the robots, and then the people will create their own robots and have their robots talk to our robots, and this is all going to happen. And we've got to be prepared for it. It's coming, right? But the big question is, and this is what you want to know from me, is, okay, exactly what's happening and how long exactly is this going to all take? And I would say, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. But I would say, like, if anybody does tell you they know exactly how long this is going to take and what steps to do, you should not trust them, okay? They have no idea what they're talking about. This is not true, okay? This is going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of care, and a lot of study. And I guess my point is, we're committed to making it happen, and I want to be very clear about what we think our role is in this transformation to a more intelligent insurance industry. This is the slide that we spent the most time thinking about. Like, outline Guidewire's position and strategy with respect to generative AI and large language models. And it starts with running an open and trusted core system, worldwide, Our goal, our vision is everyone running property casualty insurance in the world, no matter where you are, you should trust that that system, with generative AI or without generative AI, it's going to work. You can trust it, it's going to work. That's our primary directive, let's say. Okay? But the next thing is we need to help create what I'll call insurance-specific context. Okay? These systems are pretty useless if you just use them all by themselves, with respect to insurance, okay? They need to be fed the data that in lots of times is in Guidewire. They need to be powered with the knowledge bases. They need to be powered with the skills. They need to have access to systems like Guidewire so that they can have the context they need in order to be able to deliver the value that we want for your end users and for your companies. That's our job. You're going to hear Diego talk about this. We're going to ship MCP servers. We're going to ship tooling. We're going to create the mechanisms that you can use to deploy these systems effectively. We're also going to create these applications ourselves. We're going to create applications to automate claims. We're going to create applications to automate underwriting. But we're going to do it in an open way. We're going to do it in a platform way. And we're going to do it in a way that brings along this ecosystem, okay? I want to be crystal clear. We don't have an intention to do this on our own. We are not going to lock up Guidewire and try to sell you back the key, okay? We got here. We're standing here because of the ecosystem, because of the developers, because of the consulting partners that have worked with us over the years, and this is going to be the approach and the strategy of the company going forward. I hope everybody is super motivated by this. There's lots of unknowns and lots of things to learn, and it's a complete change from probably the way that we expected, certainly the way I expected the world to go. But I think the core things that got us here are going to do very well for us going forward. Doing things as a platform, doing things in an open way, and doing things in a way that brings the community and the ecosystem along for the ride. Okay, now I need to take a deep breath. I'm going to back up in my long stage here, and I'm going to change gears a little bit. What I want to do next is I want to walk you through 4 announcements, the 4 key takeaways that I would like to make sure everybody remembers from this keynote, and everybody kind of makes a note and says, okay, I'm going to go learn something about that. I am, of course, stealing a little bit of thunder from the team, but the demos that you're going to see from them are pretty amazing, and so I don't think I'm stealing too much. So the first thing that we are excited to announce today is Pricing Center. Okay, I think a lot of you know, Policy Center customers know, that we've been on a quest for a number of years to create a great rating engine, to create a rating engine that works just amazing, okay? And I think in this kind of odyssey we've been on, you know, we kind of learned some things along the way, and then, I don't know how long ago, let's say a year ago, we had this realization that in order to create a great rating engine, the secret was not actually to create a rating engine at all. The secret was to embrace the actuaries, to embrace the teams creating the pricing strategies, and in the process of creating the pricing, we could just make that the rating engine. And in the process, you get rid of this bottleneck, you get rid of this breakpoint, you get rid of this extract, you get rid of this whole headache, okay? And if we could do it built on the platform, built to integrate with our database, our data mart, our data assets, all the information running in policy and claims fed into this actuarial workbench, and we integrate it into our advanced product designer, our insurance products, this would create a system that delivered the agility you all needed to be able to execute on this incredibly important process and create the products, create the prices that enabled you to innovate and grow your organizations effectively. Okay, the second announcement I'd like to make is Underwriting Center. And again, we've been on a journey, okay, for the past year and a half or so. How do we apply generative AI and large language models to the practice of underwriting? What can we do? How can we make this work? And in the process, I think what we learned was underwriting is missing this core system. There's like this gap in the world that it's sort of been neglected. Like, why don't we have a database application optimized for underwriting, optimized for a submission workflow? If we had a submission workflow built on a platform you trust, but flexible enough to accommodate what we need to do with these large language models so that we can ingest this information and put it somewhere, that we can use large language models to evaluate the risk and prioritize the risk, that we can build that workflow in connection to the insurance product definitions that are ultimately necessary for you to be able to put this information into Policy Center or whatever terrible policy administration you guys are using besides Policy Center. We would like to talk to you about that also. But like we have this vision that just like we've done for claims and just like we've done for policy, we would like to create an industry standard around the submission process with an open platform that you can trust and you can build these agentic workflows around that will, when you need it to, seamlessly integrate into your policy administration system. All right, I told you I had 4, 2 more to go. The next one, and this is the part that I'm kind of nerdy and excited about, we are starting to actually ship the generative AI-driven services into our platform that you all need to be able to activate AI in your implementations. Now, this is like an interesting thing, and Diego will explain this in more detail. Like, we like to take a platform approach to building things at Guidewire. We like to say to the application teams, what do you want? And then we like to slow them down for months and months while we build platform services to facilitate those applications, okay? This is how we like to do. And then we expect you all to sort of decompose what we built, customize it and change it and put it over here and put it over there. And so what you're seeing from us now are these incredible tools, these agentic tools that we're going to give you. We're going to put your developers, we're going to put these tools in your developers' hands. And this, by the way, this is, I get motivated when I talk about this, like, this is why cloud is so important, right? And this is why N equals 1, and you're on the latest release because you have access to these tools now. This is really motivating for me. And so you're going to see more about this from the team. But starting to ship these generative AI services into the platform, I think is going to be a very, very big deal. Okay, number 4 is we're very excited to announce that last night, actually, before the end of the World Series game, we signed an agreement and created an intention to acquire a company called ProNavigator. And ProNavigator, where's Joseph? Joseph, congratulations. Stand up for a second. Joseph is the CEO of ProNavigator, is the founder of the company. By the way, based in Canada, you know, Toronto, so the team and the Guidewire team in Canada and Toronto is getting stronger. What they have done is, I think it's pretty amazing, okay? And they've been at this over, you know, I think 8 or 9 years working on this. And large language models, kind of in the middle of this invention of large language models really provided this boost to this company. And we saw this incredible potential to sort of like take this technology and roll it out everywhere. But the way you want to think about this is that what can we do that makes every single user of Guidewire as good as your best employee? How do we make every single person an expert? How do we take the knowledge base, the skill set, the standard operating procedures, the requirements and the training? How do we put all that into a system and stick it right next to Guidewire and the context and the workflow around which that employee is working, put a large language model on top of it, and make a chat-based interface that allows people to just talk to an expert, okay? And like, this wasn't possible 3 years ago. This was physically impossible. It didn't exist. But now that you have large language models, we can put these things together, and we could create just 3 weeks, and you're in production with a system that brings the power of this incredible technology, pairs it with the context provided by Guidewire and your knowledge base, and like I said, turns every single person into an expert. So we're incredibly excited and hope that you all will take us up on the opportunity to go learn a lot about this new application. So here's what we're going to do in the rest of this event. We're going to walk you through all of the things, all of the steps in the complete intelligent insurance lifecycle. We're going to walk you through how this technology applies to you at every step of an insurance workflow. Then Diego's going to come up on stage, and he's going to talk to you about the platform and how it all works and what we're going to do there. But to walk you through this insurance life cycle, to give you a sense of what we're doing across every single one of these steps, I'd like to now welcome on stage Christina Colby, our Chief Customer Officer.
I am so excited about the way that intelligent insurance will have a tremendous impact on our industry. And Guidewire applications will help our customers to continue to be uniquely successful. For years, you have relied on us to help with applications for product management, distribution, policy servicing, billing, and claims. But what's changing today is how those applications work together and how they're being infused with intelligence from the underlying platform. Most specifically, including context specific to your organization. That helps you, of course, to be able to differentiate in markets and to deliver the best possible experiences for your customers. So today, I plan to show you what you can do right now and what's coming next, end to end, across the entire insurance lifecycle. Let's begin where everything originates, with product definition. It's where you're designing and configuring products that are perfectly suited for your market opportunity. It's where you capture the needs of the market, the kinds of risks that you want to underwrite, and the experiences that you want to deliver. All of this is possible with the powerful engine that is Advanced Product Designer. APD allows you to launch products faster, to be able to just jump on market opportunities, to make necessary regulatory changes, and to work seamlessly across business and IT. APD unlocks the capabilities across the rest of the value chain. In the past year, we've updated APD to make it faster and easier for your teams to collaborate, specifically for your product teams to be able to work together on common properties across products, as well as editing of shared product definitions. Now, as exciting as that is, I know what you're all really waiting to hear is how do you get your current products onto APD? Diego will talk a lot about that in just a little bit. Moving along the insurance lifecycle, though, a product becomes real and makes impact when it is priced and rated. It's the point whether you determine whether a product will thrive in the market, whether it will be profitable for business, and if it is actually going to deliver the benefits to your customers that you anticipate. And the important thing is that until you can actually get that product in the market, truly every moment matters. For too long, pricing and rating have been treated as these separate disciplines, with separate systems, separate processes, and separate teams. And that separation slows insurers down and really constrains your competitiveness. But intelligent insurance demands something different. It requires more agile pricing and rating. And that's exactly what we're delivering with Pricing Center. By bringing these together, carriers have seen acceleration up to 90% to introduce new changes to market. Pricing Center empowers actuaries and pricing teams to build, test, and deploy advanced pricing models rapidly, and it eliminates the IT bottlenecks that Mike was talking about earlier, so that you can quickly respond to changing market dynamics. A great example of this is Bright Insurance, which is a subsidiary of Fairfax Holding, who operates in South Africa. They were able to reduce their change cycles from months to weeks. In the very competitive market in South Africa, they knew that not only did they need to change their technology, they really needed to change their culture as well in order to stay ahead. So they completely reshaped the way that they thought about pricing and modeling, and they brought these together in Pricing Center. And so truly, what had taken them months typically to make changes now only takes a few weeks to land in market. And they're confident that they can continue to stay ahead of the competition. I also have to say, I cannot tell you how incredible this moment is to announce Pricing Center. This is the first new insurance suite application since 2007. At the risk of actually aging myself a little bit, I worked on some of the earliest Claim Center implementations. So this to me is incredibly exciting to be able to talk about a new Insurance Suite application, and it truly shows the power and the potential of Guidewire Cloud. Pricing Center is available today for personal lines and small business, and complex commercial is soon to come. It also works best with a native integration to Policy Center, but can actually work with any of your policy administration systems, including InsuranceNow. So you can use it to support your products no matter where they sit. I want you to get a glimpse of how fantastic Pricing Center is. So I would love to invite David, co-founder of Quanti, to the stage. David? David, great to have you.
Hi, everyone. Let me start with a strong statement. In today's market, speed is everything. And very often, the speed is the first casualty when it comes to the complexity in the pricing process. So I want to show you how to avoid that. Let's have an example. So you're an insurer, and you just bought the new book of business. Your priority is to launch the rates as quickly as possible.
David, do you mind showing us what that looks like in Pricing Center?
Sure. Welcome to Pricing Center. The graph you can see is the full representation of the business logic for newly acquired personal auto line in California. And for actuaries and rate developers, this is all they need. Every assumption, every calculation, every rule is clearly mapped out right here. It's not just a rating engine, it's like unified canvas where all people engaged in the pricing process, actuaries, rate developers, data scientists, they can work together and they can speak the same language.
I can see how effective that is for them to be working cohesively in the same place.
Exactly, Christina. And with that logic built, let's show how quickly we can deliver that to the market. But hold on. Experienced rate developers will know that launching a new line or book of business often means new schema requirements. And this is the place where the project will be massively slowed down. This is because of the schema mismatches, miscommunications, and just endless back and forth between IT, rate developers, product. Not with Guidewire. Pricing Center is automatically synced with the APD to fetch the most recent product definitions.
And that's a huge benefit. As you were saying, the time that's wasted trying to understand, are you working on the right version of the product or not, to have that at their fingertips is incredibly helpful.
Yes, I think being natively architectured with APD is really making this process smooth. OK, the logic is built, the schemas are aligned, we're ready to go live. So with just a few clicks, we'll do the magic, and we're on production. This is not a simulation. This is a live deployment done in seconds. Just to confirm, I will ask my colleague Piotr to open the Policy Center, hit quote, and there it is. The new book of business is live, responding with the new rates. But you know, launching product quickly is very important. But the market never stands still. The competitors are constantly adjusting. There are new regulations. Insurers just need the agility to respond. So let's do something even more exciting. Let's say your portfolio analytics team flagged declining market share for a specific segment, let's say SUV cars. So probably there's something off with the collision coverage. So the actual team make a change. They decrease the rating factor. And this change is already here. It's on the graph. And when I say change, this is very important. Because the Pricing Center, the beauty of the Pricing Center is that the change can be everything. It can be simple rate change. It can be a little bit more complicated modification of the rule or formula, or it can be as complex as switching between different sophisticated actual models. So the pricing and rating teams work together to get that change staged. Now, with that change being done, Pricing Center automatically recalculates all dependent logic. And here comes the question. What will be the business impact of that change? To answer that question, we seamlessly connect to the latest portfolio data in the Guidewire Data Studio. And then the users of the Pricing Center have this massive BI capabilities tailored for the pricing purpose. So here we just generate the impact analysis dashboard. And what you can see are different KPI metrics like loss ratio, average conversion rate, average premium across different segments and geographies.
I think it's incredible that you were able to accomplish that without doing a major data extract. You didn't have a giant spreadsheet to wrangle, and you're putting the information into the pricing actuary's hands without a crystal ball required to understand what the impact could be by the time the rates finally hit the market. It feels like it's almost immediate.
Yes, I think what we saw was a data-driven process done in real time. Now, with that change being done, our team is happy with that change. Our team is happy with the impact analysis and what could be. It's now time for what will be. So they are selecting the new version, and with the same confidence and control like previously, promoting these changes to production. And this is critical, because what goes into production is exactly what they just analyzed. There are no potential mismatches or translation errors. The integrity of the change is guaranteed. And just like that, the rate change is live. The underwriters are now quoting, ready to capture the market share. All that happened in the time it took us to have this conversation. This is the power of the Guidewire Pricing Center.
David, it's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we've talked about this before. We are so thrilled to have you and your team as part of Guidewire. Tell me, we're very excited to be able to bring this capability to all of our customers. What does that feel like for you and your team?
That's a good question, Christina. So, we've built Quanti together with my team for the last 5 years in tears and joy, providing the pricing and rating experience, like the best pricing and rating experience to our customers. And now as a part of the Guidewire, being embedded in the ecosystem, with Data Studio, APD, Policy Center, I actually want to welcome all of you to get the value of that and join in this adventure.
Fantastic. And hopefully many more points of joy and fewer tears to come.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you so much, David. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. And Pierre, thank you so much. So far, we've talked about how defining and pricing a product sets the right foundation for success. But even the best priced product won't deliver the results that you expect unless it reaches the right market. And that's where distribution comes in. It's where you connect products to opportunities through agents and brokers or directly to customers. It's about creating great experiences that make it easier to do business, to strengthen relationships, to match your appetite, and to help you grow profitably. This past year, we've delivered new capabilities in Jutro digital platform designed to elevate the experience for everyone involved. Along with our many consulting partners, we have a growing library of Jutro templates designed to help you quickly and easily create experiences that will set you apart. It's the ability to take these templates very quickly, apply them specifically to perfectly match your brand and service. Some of the great examples lately have been quote and buy experiences for personal and commercial auto and workers' compensation, as well as first notice, producer, policyholder, and claims experiences. Now, a great example of this in practice is CNA Insurance. CNA, using APD and Jutro, can now launch new specialty lines products to the market in just 3 to 4 weeks. I think that is absolutely incredible. CNA was one of the first Guidewire customers, and in fact, I worked on their original Claim Center implementation on the first generally available version. Now, this was so long ago that there actually wasn't even a version number to talk about. It was simply just known as Claim Center. So now fast forward to 2023, when their CIO, Jane Pacell, whom you saw in the opening video, described on the connection stage that their transformation was a journey and not a destination. Since then, they became the first insurer to work with us on a full adoption into APD across their product set. And they used Jutro to rebuild their portal in just 4 months. And so now they can offer a streamlined experience for agents for products like workers' comp. The most important piece of all of this, though, is that they reshaped their business processes. They took the opportunity to really step back and understand how to do things differently, And they're, of course, proving what's possible when you are willing to challenge the status quo. Now, continuing down the insurance life cycle, at the very heart of insurance lies underwriting excellence. And this continues to be one of the toughest challenges our industry faces, particularly in commercial lines. But we have a bold vision for the future of underwriting. We know, of course, that underwriting is where risks are evaluated, where decisions are made, and where profitability is truly put to the test. But today, especially in commercial lines, underwriting is challenged by tons of manual steps, disconnected data, and very cumbersome workflows. There are, of course, several point solutions that are available, but they really only address parts of the problem. Our vision is to change that. We want to create an underwriting experience that's faster, more consistent, and powered by actionable insights. We want one that frees underwriters to focus on their intelligent judgment and to actually spend time engaging with producers and customers while pretty much automating everything else. And Underwriting Center is our vision for a unified, intuitive, and intelligent commercial underwriting experience. This isn't just a concept, though. We're starting with our new AI-powered underwriting assistant, and I'm sure you all want to see it. So please help me welcome Joss to the stage. Joss, so good to have you here.
Hi, Christina. Hi, everybody. I want to bring you into the underwriting world with me. So picture this. It's Monday morning, and an underwriter opens her inbox and sees anywhere from 50 to maybe 100 new submissions waiting. Now, every submission is a mix of attachments in different formats, half-filled forms, contradicting data, and of course, a broker asking for indications within hours. Now, somewhere in the array of data that an underwriter may be looking at for a given submission are all the clues that determine whether that risk becomes part of your book of business or someone else's.
So, Joss, I love how you've depicted all the components of a solution, but I have to be honest, I feel like you've been a bit kind in the way that you've depicted it. It seems like it's almost too neat and tidy compared to the reality.
You're right. It looks too neat because reality is way more chaotic than that. Let me show you a real-life submission. What we have here on the screen is a typical E&S submission. This one is for workers' comp in E&S. And by looking at it, you might actually say, well, that's pretty solid. The broker gave me some context. There's a half a dozen attachments in there. But the moment that you start to click into each one of the attachments, you may find a handwritten report like this one.
Okay, I have to be honest. It would take me probably minutes to decipher the handwriting, let alone to try and understand what the context of it is in the submission.
Yes, and by the time that you're distracted trying to figure out how this applies to the submission at hand, 10 more submissions just landed on your inbox. And that's the reality of underwriting today. Too much data, too little time, and not enough clarity to make decisions at this stage. That's why at Guidewire, our mission is simple. We want to turn messy submissions like this one into intelligent underwriting decisions.
So Joss, you have to tell us, how is this going to happen?
Well, that's where Underwriting Assistant comes in. The moment a submission arrives, it gets automatically processed. We extract key data from the attachments. Now we leverage that information to go online to the underwriter's trusted sites, or we can call third-party data sources like Hazard Hub or Science. We do clearance checks. We also check appetite against your underwriting guidelines, and even complete or compute prioritization scores, and deliver that output right back to the underwriter in one single motion. So the magic behind the scenes, though, is that the challenge in building this wasn't really in automating all of the steps that you see here on the screen. It was in creating a new craft. We engineer context, fine-tune prompts, build evaluations, and refine that recipe until the results reach a level of confidence that underwriters can trust. So what you see here isn't just a generic LLM, it's intelligence built for our world. And it helped us take a manual triage and clearance process that on average takes about 72 hours to just under 10 minutes. And what was manual and reactive is now intelligent and automatic. Now, let's take a look at that report from that previous submission. Okay, so what we have here on the screen, it's a single report that tells the story of the risk. It tells the underwriter where to focus, what's complete, what's missing, and what matters.
And Josh, so I've noticed that this is directly available in email, which is terrific, because we know that's where underwriters live. Are there other formats that you could actually get this report through?
Yes, you're right. So it could be visible whatever you want, actually. It can go right back into your email, into your policy administration system, in Underwriting Center, or all of the above, all without the underwriter having to rekey a thing. This is what modern underwriting looks like. Intelligence that meets you where you already work, doing what every underwriter wished happened automatically.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, so saving the underwriters from rekeying is a huge savings. But moreover than that, they're not just stuck at their laptops the entire time trying to get through submissions. They can be spending time where they want to in the field and the market. It's really fantastic.
Yes, and that's why we're so excited, because this is just the beginning. What we built here isn't just another tool, it is the foundation for Underwriting Center, where every stage of the submission lifecycle is orchestrated from triage all the way to bound and renewals, and it's how we envision carriers digitizing their unique processes and encoding their secret sauce, and finally make underwriting as dynamic and intelligent as the people who do it.
I love that. Joss, I remember, so we shared something kind of similar to this at Connections last year. When is this available for customers?
What you're seeing here is real and is available today in early access. So if any of your teams are grappling with manual triage and clearance process, come talk to us. Underwriting Assistant is ready to be put for work and turn messy submissions into decisions in minutes and not days.
I love it. So just, we've actually walked through a ton of stuff. I'm sorry, I realized I forgot to ask. I saw that there was the Open an Underwriting Center button. Can we take maybe just a couple seconds to click on that?
I could, but I won't. You'll have to be back for tomorrow's keynote where we'll be talking all about Underwriting Center.
I love it. So that is a phenomenal teaser for tomorrow. If you were excited to learn more about Underwriting Center, as Joss said, you've got to be back in this room tomorrow morning. So excellent. Joss, thank you so much. And Jen, thank you. Okay, how incredible is it that we are announcing 2 new Insurance Suite centers today? Are you as excited as I am? I think this is amazing. Okay, so as we continue through the insurance lifecycle, of course, once a policy is bound and issued, that's when you want to deliver the best possible support to your policyholders. Over the past year, we've enhanced Policy Center with a variety of features, like dashboards for premium analysis that enable you to really have a portfolio mindset in the way that you manage and monitor your business. We've made progress to simplify workflows by allowing you to use autopilot with Policy Center. That also then allows you to tie into some of the automation that you've used in Claim Center with autopilot. In Billing Center, we have funds tracking coming soon. That includes the ability to send refunds directly back to the original payment method so that you can truly disperse with confidence. Okay, brace yourselves though. We've made these phenomenal announcements about all these applications today, but we are also delivering one of the most requested features for Insurance Suite. You will now have the ability to have multiple tabs open for different policies or claims at the same time. So the experience for your, I love it, good. I knew that there was excitement about that, thank you. So your users, whether they are CSRs, servicing policies, whether they're claims handlers, they are going to have a terrific experience versus having to toggle around to look for the information. Okay, now, I heard some noise, but I expect to hear a lot more noise when I ask for our Insurance Now crowd. What? Come on, this is one of our loudest groups. Where is everyone? All right. Well, thank you. So we have welcomed 9 new Insurance Now customers to the community in the past year. And the majority of our Insurance Now customers are on GWCP, meaning that they have an ease of updates and more access to platform capabilities that will continue to make the application more comprehensive. And with the introduction of ISO rating as a service, it means that you can bring standard products to market even faster. Okay, now finally, we come to the moment of truth in insurance, claims. It's fulfilling the promise to policyholders. It's when customers need speed, clarity, and empathy most, and where the experience that they have will truly define how they see you as an insurer. We're focused on improvements that make claim handling more transparent, more intelligent, and faster. Claims Intel, in particular, provides actionable intelligence that is based on the most comprehensive data set in P&C. It represents an incredible $275 billion in DWP. And it's available to Insurance Suite and Insurance Now customers alike, displayed clearly for adjusters to be able to see insights and to act on them. It's part of our broader industry intel, and Claims Intel models are already delivering strong results. With only a few models in place, participating carriers are already reporting a half-point improvement in auto BI and collision against their loss ratio, and a quarter-point improvement in their loss ratio for workers' compensation. If you're not already participating, join the EA program, come see some breakout sessions. We are only getting started here, and I cannot wait to see what we're going to be able to unlock for the industry. Now, the adjuster of the future will be supported by this team of AI agents, working on their behalf to evaluate, to take action, and to learn from past behaviors. But most importantly, of course, the adjuster remains the decision maker. Imagine if an adjuster had an AI agent that they could use on every phone call to transcribe and summarize and extract the key data. And maybe that agent was also working with something like an empathy signal agent. And so if there were specific verbal cues in the conversations, those wouldn't be missed. Or perhaps there was actually a subro agent separately that was constantly looking for opportunities and the ability to act on recovery. These are just a couple of the many great examples and use cases really across the entire insurance value chain. And the carriers who most effectively orchestrate these agents and models will have a tremendous competitive advantage. In claims, a terrific example of this is how our AI-powered claims assistant is going to enable a much better experience for all claims handlers. So with that, I would love to invite Connie to the stage.
Hey, Christina.
Hey, Connie, thanks for coming.
So glad to be here. So I want to show everyone how Guidewire is making the world for adjusters so much better. Okay, we know that adjusters are using a powerful core system like ClaimCenter. It's great at storing every single claim detail. But the challenge is adjusters spend time navigating and clicking. They're trying to find that key information just to work on the claim at every stage. So imagine doing that for all 150 of your claims. Or taking over for an adjuster who is out on PTO. It's really daunting. So our focus is on extracting immediate, actionable context. And we're going to do that with claim summarization. This is our first AI capability of Claims Assistant. So we're bringing together all the most relevant claim details in a single screen. We're starting to move things visually. We've got tiles for high-level facts of loss.
Oh, and I noticed, too, the Claims Intel models that we were talking about are visible so that it puts some really important information in the adjuster's hands.
Yes. And we took all those pages of really unstructured notes. We used AI to turn this into a really easy-to-read summary. So instantly, you know what the claim's about, and you know where it is in the whole claims process. So in fact, our pilot customer is hollered in here. Make some noise. No? Okay, I know you're here. Okay. They found that their adjusters could save 80% of their time just reading a summary like this. That meant they could get to the action quicker. Making a payment, calling that customer back, and keeping that claim moving forward. So this is a game changer.
Connie, I mean, I really see how this truly empowers claim handlers. How were we able to make this possible within ClaimCenter?
Yeah, so I'm thrilled to announce that in Olos, early access customers can leverage foundational models, and they can do prompt editing. So that means they can create one summary for an auto physical damage adjuster and a totally different summary for their bodily injury specialist.
Okay, that is my favorite part. So based upon your area of expertise, you will actually get a claim summary that's tuned specifically for you.
Exactly.
Very cool.
And as Mike announced earlier, we're expanding that with ProNavigator. So that means adjusters will have access to relevant policy information and standard operating procedures directly in ClaimCenter. So let me show you how. We're going to go back in time with Brittany Turner's claim. I'm going to work on this claim, so I'm going to go into my work plan, and I see at the very top that I need to make initial contact with Brittany. I'm going to get guidance from my assistant down in the bottom right-hand corner, and I can see that there's contextual awareness. So this means everything that's returned here will be based for personal auto in California. Okay, this is great. And this is the cool part. So no matter where I am in ClaimCenter, I can click on Claim Summary and see it right here again if I ever need to refer back to it. Okay, so I'm going to make an initial contact with Brittany. I need to learn more about her, so I'm going to navigate to the Policy tab in ClaimCenter.
That's fantastic. So I see that Brittany is a Platinum customer, but what if an adjuster has never worked with a Platinum customer before?
Yeah, so this is the best part. So rather than just having a few specialists who can handle Platinum customers, you can now enable any one of your adjusters to do that because they will have the necessary expertise right here in ClaimCenter. So let's take a look at the suggestions, and we'll click on this one to find out how to best service a Platinum customer. So this is a live demo, which means right now we're getting context, it's looking at the knowledge sources, and it's going to return a result. Okay, so here it is. That means I need to, the guidance is telling me I need to make an introductory call within 4 hours of assignment. I have to provide a status update every 48 hours. Okay, that's great guidance, but let's say I'm new. I'm a little scared. I've never spoken to somebody like this before. I need to be prepared. So let's ask a follow-up question. I'm going to type in, I've never spoken to a Platinum customer before. Please give me guidance along with a brief script for my first contact with the claimant. Okay, we're going to execute that. Again, live demo. It's thinking, looking at context, referring to that LLM, and it's going to come back with a response. So let's take a look at what the response is. Okay, here it is. Look at what comes back. We've got a pre-called checklist, a set of key principles to keep in mind, and the most important thing, that script for an introductory call. And this is all based on the standard operating procedures. So I am set up for a really successful first call with Brittany. So I'm going to tell you what happened because I know it happened in just a few seconds. I was able to get guidance from Guidewire coming from context, and then I can get standard operating procedures, looking at those articles, and it's bringing everything back into an intelligent UI right here in ClaimCenter. That means it eliminated the need for me to consult an outside manual or maybe talk to a supervisor. And this is available today.
It's phenomenal. I love it. I've spoken to some customers who have used ProNavigator already because they were part of our InsurTech Vanguard program. But now it's so exciting that they're part of Guidewire. So what's coming next?
Yeah, so we saw with Claims Assistant, we're already leveraging all the data that's within the system of record. That means we're creating that claim summary that you saw. And then we're expanding on that with ProNavigator by incorporating that standard operating procedures. So in the future, Claims Assistant will continue to become more powerful. We're expanding that knowledge base, and we're getting more precise context. So we're really empowering adjusters to drive outcomes. We're transforming them from seeking data to become guided decision makers.
Connie, I think this is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing this. I do think it's really going to change the way that adjusters work. And just based upon the glimpses that you've shown, I know you have a breakout later, and I am certain that that is going to be a packed session. So thank you so much. Connie, thank you for being here. Dimitri as well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All of the applications that we've talked about are not just about solving today's pain points. They are part of a broader platform approach. It's a platform that's designed to accelerate innovation, to empower developers, and to bring intelligence to every corner of the insurance lifecycle. In order to talk more about that, please join me in welcoming Diego Devalle to the stage.
You have that feeling, maybe you had it yesterday night, when you go to a restaurant and at the end of a big meal, somebody comes and says, do you still have room for dessert? I'm dessert. So I hope you still have some room for dessert today. Dessert today is platform. So as Christina said, platform makes this entire life cycle happening. We built it across the last 20 plus years, and in the last few years, we gave it an extra flavor of cloud. But everything that we built is at the fabric of what you've seen so far. And today, we're making this even better. So I'm going to talk about 5 things on this dessert menu. Number 1, we're talking about GenAI service. We're enabling GenAI service at the platform level. Why at the platform level? At the platform level, because everything at Guidewire starts with platform. What we build, the application, are built on the top of the same platform that you guys are using. Everything from the ground up, when everything was conceived from the first day, was a platform for the industry. And today is still the leading platform from the industry, and starting this week is coming with GenAI service. And when we think about GenAI service and platform, we think about enabling everywhere and for everyone, in every task, at every service, for every application, and most important, from every stakeholder. So last year at Connection, we start to introduce some aspect of this platform. We build it brick by brick. Mike said, we don't know it all. If somebody tells you that he knows it all, he's lying. So at every step, we learn an extra piece. So we start with what we call AI Connect. That was a way to expose different model and to make sure that our customer could use it in a secure way. If you don't know, those are all the different icons of the different model available today via AI Connect. And then we start building some assistant. You've seen a couple of them. You've seen a claim summary assistant, and you've seen underwriting assistant. And when we were doing that, we realized that the best way to do that is through an agentic framework, leveraging what we call MCP server and context. So we talked about context. What is context? Context, we think that is the step that is the secret sauce, what makes the combination of model in the context of a Guidewire system relevant. You need knowledge base, because the way that an insurance claim works and the different steps is part of what we call knowledge base. You need tools. You need to know how to interact with IS, how the API structure works. And then you need to fine-tune prompt to make sure that all this kind of end up into an assistant or into an agent that is working for your initial requirement. So, as I said, we built few of them. You've seen a couple of them. Let's imagine now that we want to build one on stage in a few seconds. We want to build what we call a CSR assistant that is leveraging policy, accessing specific LLM, and we get all this done in a few seconds. So to do that, Val, one of the engineers at the platform level, is just joined me on stage, and we can jump directly into what we call Agent Studio. I'm turning here because this screen is so cool that I want to see the demo of the product by looking there rather than looking on this small screen where I cannot see much anymore. So here's this Guidewire Cloud Home you must be familiar with, and we go to this menu, and we jumped into Agent Studio. Here you can see the couple of agents that we've been working on for this demo, but we jump directly into create a new one. And the first thing, we define a name, CSR agent. We pick a model, is what I said a second ago. We picked one model. In this case, we take the latest and greatest, and we select some knowledge base. Guidewire comes with out-of-the-box insurance glossary, and because of the acquisition, we're going to enable very quickly also the Pro Navigator. But for this demo that we've been working on, that acquisition was announced yesterday night, so very few of us were aware of this. For sure, not the engineers team was not aware. So we could not do this demo all the way there, but let's go back. So we add the standard out-of-the-box glossary. And then next step, we select some tools. For this demo, we want to access Policy Center. So we are selecting all the tools that are provided into this screen. We add them. And then we have added this capability to auto-generate a sort of out-of-the-box prompt that enable us to interact with Policy Center. So Val here clicks generate. As I said, this is the out-of-the-box prompt that is derived from the tooling and from the MCP server. And then we can directly jump in to use it. So let's see, find me Ray Newton policy. The system is going to kind of complain that we need a two-way to identify the policy number. So we're going to add the last 4 digits of the policy. And I think kind of magically, the system comes back with those information. You actually don't need to know how to use Policy Center. The next things that you want to see is like, OK, now I want to continue this conversation. I want to list me all the vehicle. So let's go, which vehicle are attached to this policy. And the system is working on, and it comes back with the car that is attached to that policy. And so now let's continue that and saying, is this car has been in any kind of accident in the recent time? And of course, the system now comes back and says, I cannot access this information. So let's do this live. Let's go back on the MCP server. Let's look at the tools available for claims. Let's pick the last one, search claim by vehicle and license plate. We add this, and let's try it again. Again, this has been done live. There is nothing here that is being pre-staged. It's asking, again, the same question, and you will see that it's coming back with all the list of accidents that this car, this vehicle, has been involved with. I found it as a miracle. Mike talked about the miracle. I think this is a miracle. Again, even people that don't know how to use Policy Center nor Claim Center can interact with the system. Speaking of interaction with system, Val, how is different to interact with prompt and not only with code those days?
Well, this is just another tool for us to master. We learn to code now, we learn to prompt. And let me show what I mean. So I'm going to tweak the prompt to instruct the AI to add a footnote to every its message, showing policy number and a customer's name for CSR context. And by the way, because of you, Diego, I'll ask it to respond in Italian.
Oh, thank you. OK, so
yeah.
Let's ask the question again. Let's see what is coming back.
Yeah, let's ask it again.
And again, the change and the tweak of the prompt was done live. We ask again the same question. And as you will see, the system comes back in Italian and is going to append the Ray Newton's policy and the number of the policy at the end of the query. Again, this is miracle. Imagine how effective this could be also, and how much is going to be more efficient when you need to sort of translate application and interact with an application at different level in different country. So we are going to use the same technology that we have shown right now, Agent Studio. The team is using that to bring together across the next 3 releases a combination of 50 agents and tools across different areas, for developers, for at the platform level, for underwriter, for claims. Everywhere you're going to see 50 of those coming together across the next 3 releases. And since Val is still here, let me show you one more. So you've seen 2 of them before with Connie and Christina, leveraging intake and leveraging claim summarization. And so since Val is still here, let's look at what we call coverage assessment that is going to become available in the recent future. So if we jump back to the demo, you're going to see the same screen that Connie has been working before, the Smart Claim Overview, that now comes with an extra button. That extra button is indeed Assess Coverage. And upon clicking that button, you're going to validate if the coverage for which the claim is being opened, if it's covered for that specific claim. Again, this also shows you a slightly different way to expose AI capability, not only through a chat window, but also directly embedded to the transactional application. So number 1, Gen AI. Thank you, Val. Number 2, to adopt those things, to be able to use this innovation, to be able to take advantage of everything that we're bringing almost every 4 months now, we wanted to make migration faster. And so we've been spending some time on that. As you know, we have been master what we call the technical upgrade process, helping all of you to move to cloud. But now we're going to do something more. We're trying to get you migration ready. How do we do that? So first of all, as said, we now have a set of steps that our service team and in general our partner are capable to take to move you to the cloud. The new things we're doing now, we're trying to sort of connect IS10 customer to our cloud instance if you're running one of those 3 code repositories and synchronize your code into Guidewire Cloud. Upon syncing, we are going to be able now, leveraging GenAI and leveraging Agent Studio and different studios that we're building, we're going to be able to automate some of the validation and some of those steps. And this will result into a migration report. That is going to be, we think, game-changing. You don't need to make a decision about moving to the cloud, and then after the decision, you get into discovery phase of how far you are from adopting and to move. But you're in a situation in which you have those information ahead of making the decision. So if you're running IS10 across the next 12 months, we're going to enable any customer that is interested in taking up on this offer. We're going to generate those reports, and we're going to keep those reports up to date at every release. So you always will know, across the timeline, you will always know how far you are and how difficult or complex moving to the cloud will be. So service, faster to adopt, faster to migrate, and I tripped a little bit here, and that easier to adopt. Once you move to the cloud, we want you to adopt all the new capability that we've been introducing across the last few years. The count as of today is 1,600, and within a couple of weeks, once we launch Lawless, will be 1,828. Myself and Mike like round numbers, so we want to have this number 2,000. We try to squeeze it as much as possible, but there was no way. So I think for 2,000, we need to wait for the P release. But how do we enable you to adopt all those new capability? How do we accelerate adoption? Because again, we wanted to use the latest and greatest. And to use the latest and greatest, the gatekeeper to the new capability is APD. APD is at the center of adopting any of this transformation, of this new capability that we're launching across the years. Christina talked about Pricing Center. Pricing Center runs now on GWCP. It runs inside the infrastructure. And as you have seen, a great accelerator of the adoption of Pricing Center is our capability to natively integrate with APD. APD is at the core of digital. APD is at the core of building new integration. So if you guys are building a new product starting tomorrow, you build it on APD. But if you are an existing customer with an existing line and you're facing this dilemma of, should I continue to leverage the product as it is, or should I embark in a transformation that is predominantly, or at least until today, was predominantly manual, and with Lawless is becoming heavily automated. We are introducing what we call APD conversion to automate the process from 12 months to 6 weeks. This is going to completely change the entire adoptability of all the new capability that we've been introducing across the year. So if you have not started an APD project, I suggest you to start an APD project. Here we have Eric from Beneva, that is one of the early access customer of leveraging APD adoption. And I will not read the full quote, but basically saying, it's great, it's cool, and you should use it. So again, service, faster migration, helping you on adoption, but Mike talked about developer productivity. We want to continue to make simpler development for our entire ecosystem. The goal is always do more, make it quicker, do more things. Today, we enable self-service developer to self-service deploy more than 5,000 per week. 5,000 deployment per week is mesmerizing. You know, a few years ago, we had few customers. Now we have 5,000 deployment per week. Is great. But although great platform and 5,000 is a good number, if you look at this slide, you get a little bit of the sense of everything that we want to continue to make better. We want to make easier configuration. We want to make it easier to extend. We wanted to increase developer productivity. We wanted to do a lot of those stuff continuously innovate. And to do that, this year, around mid of last year, we introduced what we call Alpine mode. That beside me forcing any kind of ski analogy into the company as much as I can, was a way to sort of convey the message that we have multiple new capability tailored for developers to do their job in a more efficient way. We introduced more visual modeler, not only APD for modeling, but also for rules. We've introduced an object editor that allows you to modify schema and to customize schema. We changed completely the way that we package software that is going to enable a way that is going to accelerate marketplace down the road. We introduced Guidewire function. And with all those, we are finally delivering 3 developer assistant for helping our customers to more efficiently leverage GenAI for building code on Gosu, building integration, and building digital. As you could imagine, I could spend probably another hour in going through all those elements of Alpine. And so instead of doing that, we introduced a couple of years ago a new conference that we call Dev Summit that this year in May is going to count more than 3,000 developers. So if you're interested in learning more about everything that we're doing for the developer community, I'll suggest that you send your developers, if you're a partner, your engineers to this event that is going to be centered and focused on Alpine mode and all those new capabilities. This brings me to one more thing, that is better digital. Mike said that he stole the thunder. I was able to keep this mini thunder just for the end. Digital, there was a slide before with Christina that she showed all the 9 experience template out of the box to accelerate adoption of digital and to accelerate building digital apps. Those are the 9. Last year on this stage, we introduced a progress on the digital platform on JDP. We launched a couple of those templates, and then we said we're going to complete our journey across the next few releases. The journey was completed in Niseko. And so today, it's great. We have those 9 templates. You can go from APIs to user experience and build those in an efficient way. But we wanted to make this better. As I said, we never stop. We have an ambition to make things continuously better. So if you're really a long-time user of Guidewire, you know that developing what we call historically PCF page and digital happen in 2 separate worlds. And so you build those pages, and then you build digital. This is 2 separate things. We talked on this stage for many years about natively digital, to make Guidewire natively digital. And we did a lot of steps in that direction. But there was a couple of things that were still missing. What is very special about Guidewire? I always think in terms of when the company is successful, spend a little bit of time to try to understand what is, at the essence, the most special things. And I think one of the most special things was what we call here this dynamic UI generation. What is it? It's basically our capability to infer the UI from the data structure, from the data model. If you've been using Guidewire and you get used to that capability, it's pretty magical, because you can get into an up and running page very quickly. So from the very beginning, the goal was, can we make this the DNA of Guidewire? Can we enable the DNA of Guidewire also through digital and make it transform everything in such a way that this special capability is available across? And we think that we can. And so today we want to introduce what we call Jutro Studio, that is going to enable exactly that capability that everybody is accustomed to into our platform. To make that happening, across the last 2 years, I had to build a team of the brightest and the smartest developers that have been in Guidewire. And I'm honored to have a couple of them with me on stage today, Fiona and Kirsten, that are going to help me out to show you what some of the marketing team told. This demo is complex. People will not get it. So let me try to make it as easy as possible and eventually boil it down to a couple of critical things that I want to make sure that you will extract from the demo. So let's jump into the demo. And so this is one of the out-of-the-box template that I discussed before. Is personal auto, is one of the available with since Niseko. So Fiona is filling that up. And now let's imagine that you want to expose a field that you are aware that is available in the data model. And so in the past, to do that at the digital level was extra steps in the API. Maybe something was available at the SDK level. But now let's switch to Kirsten's screen, that is Jutro Studio. This is the first time you're seeing Jutro Studio. Again, I can spend an entire hour to show you all the features that are here, but instead we jump directly on enabling this field that is called affinity. So Fiona, explain us a little bit how special this is and what Kirsten is doing.
Jutro Studio is familiar and it's easy. So I've been at Guidewire for 18 years, and in that time, I have built many a UI using PCFs. Now, Jutro Studio gives me that same developer experience, where I can build UIs without having to write a bunch of code, and I have all the data context at my fingertips. So to see what it feels like, Kirsten is going to go ahead and pull in the drop-down component. And then again, with all that data context at his fingertips, he can browse the Cloud API to find the property we're looking for. Once he's found that, all the code to interact with that property has been wired up for us. So if we switch back to my view of the screen, we can see it's already there, fully functional, live. It's even populated with the correct choices.
So this seems to be simple, right? It's 3 clicks. It's 3 clicks. But behind the scene, to make that happening, you need 18 years of experience of Fiona. You need an entire team. You don't know how difficult it is to put the brightest mind together and have them working on something super complex. Everybody has an idea and so on. Fiona, how was this project? How exciting and frustrating has been working on this project for the last few months?
It has been thrilling to work with so many great developers, and certainly a lot of opinions, but that's also what makes things great.
OK, so let's move forward. To make this a little bit faster and not make this demo super long, we pre-filled a couple of information that normally in the flow you will fill up now. So the vehicle is being already pre-filled, and the driver is already pre-filled, so we can jump directly to quoting. And here we go. We get the quote. And if you scroll down, you will see a bunch of coverage. So the first thing I wanted to show you was how to expose a field that was already part of the data model. The second thing we want to do, we talked about APD, is that now imagine that you want to add a coverage. That basically is like modifying the schema on the fly, right? So we go on APD, and we're going to create a special coverage for the festivity, we call it, for Halloween. And so we create this coverage, we save, we jumped on PC, and we synchronize. Basically, we pull those information on PC from APD, and we go back on Kirsten's screen, that is the editor. This is another aha moment, at least for me. Like, the editor realized that there is a new entity coming up, because it's wired onto these things live directly. We internally call this also Jutro Live, just to sort of give you the sense of how quickly the changes are. So now the system is asking, is offering, should I sync? Should I sync this entity into my structure? And so Kirsten will sync the entity, and then he's going to come back with another suggestion. Kirsten, what's happening next?
Yeah, so because Studio is configuration-based and live, AI knows everything about your app. And so it detected the change for the Halloween configuration. Now, AI just doesn't suggest what's going to happen. It can actually apply these as well. So what's going to happen when I click on this, it's going to import the coverage. It's going to find similar pages that have coverages on them, and it's going to apply them to the UI, like magic.
So in reality, you will validate that this suggestion is what you want to do and so on. But here, we accept directly the suggestion. We switch back to Fiona's screen. And as you will see, we're on the quote page. And on the same quote page, she needs to go back and move forward to sort of show you this change. And when you scroll down, you will see, we should have seen, this is the first time that
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
OK.
We're going to redo it. You know, those demos are the typical things that you do it a million times, they always work, and then when you do it on stage, it's kind of an extra glitch. Here we go.
Click
Here we
too
go.
fast.
Woo, woo. Okay, so it's live, but it takes a little bit of second. You know, when you do those demos and so on, when you move something that takes months to minute, then people get really attached to, oh, but now it needs to be second. And when it's second, you sort of, oh, but it is 3 seconds. You need to make it immediate. So it's pretty amazing. So again, quote page, Halloween. Now, if we will have synchronized this APD new structure, you saw APD, we added a coverage. And if we will have brought back here David, and Piotr, we will have synchronized this new structure with pricing center. We will have opened up the pricing modeling, and we will have created new rules and a new pricing rules to sort of define an extra multiplier or whatever factor for adding this. Now, this will take definitely too long. So this field is here, is visible, but is not impacting any way the quote. So, last thing, exposing a field, modifying the data schema. The last thing is, digital is about experience. Digital is about different channel. Digital is about, conceptually, is about the same logic, but flavored differently, structured in a slightly different way, and visualized in a slightly different way. So how do we do that with Jutro Studio? We do it with the concept of theme. So we jump back on Kirsten's screen. You will see that we have default theme. It's called Standard Enterprise. And then we create also a Purple Enterprise. And to have some fun, we create also an Halloween theme, right? So while Kirsten is going to swap that, we go back on Fiona's screen and see you this directly live, what is going to happen on Fiona's screen. So first, it's going to change into what we call purple. It's pretty simple. It's changing the color, a few things, but you can imagine behind this change anything that you want to do, like easy stuff, basic stuff. But let's have a little bit more fun. Let's change it into an Halloween theme. And that is going to kind of completely change. Our UX team has done an amazing work. I kid you not, we had some feedback during this, validating this demo, then some folks thought that we were going to ship this. So we could. If you guys are going to ask this, and if you want to enter into a kind of world of insurance into which only for Halloween you can change all that, we can do it. But beside the jokes, this is fully wired. During this entire change, this is fully wired. If you scroll down, you will see the vandalism coverage is there, and we can totally quote. So let's do the step to buy this policy and bind this policy to see if it will generate. Told you it's fully themed. So here you have the policy number. We could jump back on Policy Center and show you the policy number, but trust me, this is a policy number coming from Policy Center. So last thing, I want to close on Jutro Studio. So Jutro Studio is becoming available. It's becoming available in the pre-release or in the spring release. We think is going to completely change the speed of your implementation. We think it's going to add a level of agility and a flexibility that you never had before, because you can create, as said, multiple experience in a very quick way. But most important, and Fiona touched upon, is the dev familiarity. If you are familiar with what happened in the airline industry when they bring a new plane, a key aspect is that new plane does not change anything from a pilot. You don't need to retrain the pilot. The pilot knows how to fly the plane. There is a new aircraft coming, and the pilot goes in, and he knows how to fly. So we think Jutro Studio is exactly that. We think that within a week, all our ecosystem of engineers and our community of engineers will learn how to use that. Now, it's not available yet. It's in the peer release. But Fiona, Kirsten, Julie, and Cooper are going to be at the booth. The application is up and running. You can ask all the questions possible. And if you really want to make Cooper happy, you can ask him about multi-tab, because he's the person that made multi-tab happening, what Christina was talking about before. All that functionality was many sleepless nights from Cooper. Thank you, guys. This was awesome. OK, so to wrap this up, we talked about GenAI service available in Olos, your capability to start to have in EA, you start to have the capability to build different agents with Agent Studio. We are offering and bringing faster migration to enable a report at any given moment in time for our customer running Insurance Suite 10. APD conversion is critical to open up adoption and modernizing your implementation. Simpler development with Alpine mode. And last but not least, Jutro Studio. All that is what the dessert brought you. And now to really finish the meal, I'll bring back on stage Mike Rosenbaum.
We showed you a lot. I want to stress something, though, that Diego said at the end. Okay, I'm not going to recap everything. I want to use the word continuity and think about his analogy with respect to flying planes. Okay, this company, and our commitment to our customer base is very real. Okay, we are 100% committed to ensuring that everybody does get to cloud. Everybody does make it, okay? And so when you think about, like, we showed you all this cool stuff, one of the best pieces of software engineering that we did related to giving you an environment to facilitate your ability to check your code base against cloud, okay? That is our commitment to continuity. And the other thing, unrelated to new functionality, is APD adoption. Raise your hand if you've given me personal feedback about, hey, Mike, you need to make it easier for us to get to APD, okay? Incredibly great software engineering went into this mechanism to take something that used to take 12 months and used to be an effective rewrite of your policy, of your product model, and now gets you to APD. So I hope you see that. I hope and I implore you to take us up on the opportunity to learn how these tools work and chart a path to the future. We're super, super excited about where we're going with cloud, where we're going with digital, and where we're going with AI. I hope you're motivated too, and I hope you all have a great week at Connections. So thank you very much.